Well, the recent drop in temperatures and even a few sightings of snow may have you wishing spring break would get here a little sooner than later. Travel photographer and coach Chuck Kirchner is here to give us some tips on planning your next trip, do-it-yourself style. Thanks, Chuck, for being here.
Thanks, Liz.
Yeah,
Glad
so tell me, how did you become a travel coach?
Well, first by traveling a lot. I've been traveling since I was a kid, and over the years, people knew I was traveling and asked me lots of questions. And over time, I realized there was actually a profession called travel coaching. And that's what I'm doing now, among other things.
Wonderful. Well, I'm interested in knowing where people start even beginning to plan a vacation. There are so many options. Where do you start?
We start by figuring out why you're taking the trip, trying to figure out what your trip objectives are. Not just yours, but your traveling companions, whether it's your wife, partner, friends, kids, grandparents, whomever are traveling with you, so that everybody gets something out of the trip. Too many people come back from a trip, yeah, it was all right, but lay on the beach for a week and got kind of bored. Well, why did you go? Well, I don't really know. So knowing why you're taking a trip, I think, is the first thing. Then figuring out the destination. There's books on that. There's certainly websites that can help you figure that out as well.
And how many websites are there on that? I remember.
Well, I did a research not too long ago, and I found 71 million hits under Google under the term travel websites.
Wow.
So there's a lot. There's a few key ones, obviously. Lots of people use Expedia and Travelocity for booking airfares and hotels and rental cars.
What are some good ones that are off the beaten path?
I think there's three that I use a lot that people might not know as much about. Bing.com is a fairly new site that's under the travel tab, will predict what your airfare might do. So if you're getting ready to book a trip to, let's say, New York City, you type in Seattle to New York, hit the switch, and it will tell you that there's 80% chance the fare is going to drop, so you might want to wait. It's still your call. They're not going to guarantee their predictions, but it gives you some insight as to when you might want to buy your ticket. A second site that I use a lot is TripAdvisor.com. TripAdvisor is written largely by travelers. It lists hotels in various cities and the reviews of those, that people who actually stay in the rooms versus a travel guide writer who might look at the room but not stay in the hotel. It's a big difference. And we've used that very successfully. We've recently stayed at a bed and breakfast on Camino Island that had great reviews. We got back from our trip, we wrote a review saying, yeah, this was a great place. Though, the little TV set was kind of small for watching the videos on that they gave us. A month later, I checked back. The owner of that B&B had written a response thanking me for the review. And by the way, we've installed flat screen TVs in the rooms.
Wow.
So it's really used by both travelers and by the hotel operators themselves. A great site. A third site that I really like is whatsonwhen.com. And it talks about festivals locally and around the world. Some that are obvious, like Mardi Gras in New Orleans, but also small festivals maybe in West Virginia. And it's a great site for getting ideas. You might already decided to go to the East Coast, but what we want to do besides just looking at going to a museum,
right,
what kind of special events are happening. It's a great site for that.
Neat. That sounds great. Something a little different.
Yep.
So is there a way to travel on a budget? Can you do that?
Absolutely. You can go almost anywhere in the world on almost any kind of budget, depending on when you buy your airfare, or do you do a car trip, where you stay. There's most countries in the world you can stay for $10 a night or $1,000 a night. It depends on what your comfort level is and your budget, obviously. A big place to save on money is meals. Obviously, if we're going to Paris or Rome and want to eat the local cuisine,
bring
that's
some
one
cash.
thing. Bring some cash.
Yeah.
But we were in Japan 2 years ago, and our first night we had tempura at a tempura restaurant for $80 for the three of us. And it was a fine meal. It was we were expecting Japan to be expensive, so it kind of was. The next night we ate around the corner from our hotel for $30, had just as good a meal.
Wow, yeah.
So you can really control cost. The one place that you should not control is, after you spend all this money and you get to the museum and it's $20 to get in, and you go, whoa, I'm sorry, you spent $2,000 already. What's $20 more on seeing the museum you've wanted to see? So that's one place not to necessarily
Skimp.
save money.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so spring break is fast approaching,
Yep.
and it may be a little late to save on the airfare portion of it. You've given us some tips on how to save once you get there.
Right.
What if maybe getting on a plane isn't an option, or it's too expensive to get on a plane? What are some good drive destinations that are a little closer to home?
Okay. Well, I think one that's, if you want to do, it's just like a 1 or 2 or 3 day getaway. The Great Wolf Lodge, just south of Olympia, near Centralia, is this indoor water park associated with a hotel, and it's not necessarily cheap. It's like $300 a night right now, but includes your all-day water park passes. So if you're looking to get the kids out of the house for a couple of days, I've not been there, but friends of mine have and love it. That's one suggestion.
And you're saving on your airfare, so maybe you can spend a little more on
the
the
gas
the
prices
hotel.
aren't as bad as they were a year ago.
Yep.
So it's definitely affordable from that perspective. Portland, Oregon, nearby, 3 or 4 hour drive. A site called travelportland.com, which is run by the Tourist Association down there, has amazing bargains right now. I checked spring break week, which here on the island is the last week in March, first week in April. And there are hotels available right now for $80 a night for 2 queen beds, nice hotel near downtown, free parking, free continental breakfast, and right now any of these hotels will give you $50 in cash when you check in to spend as you choose. It's an amazing deal.
Wow.
And they've been doing this for years. Not the $50 piece, that's brand new this year. It's like, whoa. A great deal. And so you can do 3 or 4 or 5 day trip for under $500 probably.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was checking out your blog last night, and I really liked, you had a little post on procrastination. Tell me what the procrastinating traveler is.
Well, the procrastinator when it comes to travel is the person that has 2 or 3 or 4 weeks of vacation and lets 1 or 2 weeks of that lapse because they're too busy, they don't feel like traveling, it's like too much of a hassle. I'm sorry, there's a whole world out there, folks. Whether it's in Portland or the U.S. South or New England or Japan or Bhutan or India. I mean, it's this whole world out there of cultures and experiences. You can read about them, you can watch them on TV, which is not a bad thing. But to actually be there. I remember my first trip to the Grand Canyon. It's like, I don't really want to go. I mean, I've seen pictures of it. It looks like, big hole in the ground. I walked up and I drove up to it, 4 o'clock in the evening, got out of the car and went, ah! A truly amazing place that you have to be there to experience it. Same thing when you go to Italy or Greece and, experience the Greek people and the Italians and just the way they live. And it's something that broadens your horizons and makes life, I think, worth living.
So get out there and travel.
Absolutely.
Travel. Well, thank you so much, Chuck, for
Thank you so
joining
much,
us.
Liz.
I really am inspired to journey on. I hope you guys are too. Chuck will be at the Traveler on Winslow Way at the end of April. Now I'll fill you in on some more upcoming events in this week's What's Happening.